Hello and welcome to Ignite Your Life with Andrea. I am Andrea, the Life Igniter, and I am truly excited to be coming on here today to talk to you. Um, and just a little bit about me. So, I focus on wholeness. I am a holistic lifestyle empowerment coach, and my whole purpose and aim is to help you be whole mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and financially, right? And so, with that being said, my focus and aim is to help you become reignited in self love, wholeness, and hope so that you can live ignited and thrive in every area of your life. And those are the main areas that I do focus on. And so, today, I just want to talk about the cost of not knowing. Um, and you're probably like, why even listen to this girl? Well, I have gone through the life of hard knocks, right? I have a corporate background. I've been in corporate America for over 25 years. I have a background in business. I have a bachelor's in business management and entrepreneurship. And then I also have a master's degree in psychology and life coaching. And no, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist or anything of that nature, but out of all of my investment in studying and learning and things of that nature, the area that I got most excited about was psychology. And how does the brain work? And how does the body work to heal itself, right? And how does these external things, this human experience that we go through, how does it impact us on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level? And so that is my area. That is my sauce right there, my secret sauce, my focal point. um, and so I just like to talk about those things because essentially it's our divine birthright to be made whole, right? To be restored back to a state of wholeness in every area of your life, not just one area. But the truth of the matter is and what I've learned is that there's all these dimensions of wholeness. And if any of those areas are out of alignment, it can affect you overall, just your well being. And so, the area that I do want to talk about today is the cost of not knowing. And so, I am going to reveal that particular area here in just a moment. But if I can ask you something real quick, what if the only thing standing between you and a completely different life or one filled with peace of mind, protection, and possibility was simply knowing what nobody ever taught you, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I know about myself. But what I can truly say is I was taught to, graduate from high school, get good grades, get a college education because it's going to expand your opportunities for making more money or having a better position. Um, but in that though, it cost me something. That cost me something, right? It cost me student loan debt. It cost me, you know, good costs and not so good cost, which is that student loan debt. But the good cost is it did help me to understand what I'm passionate about. So I don't solely knock what I was taught, you know. Um, it helped me to get on the path of learning. And so I call myself a lifelong learner because I do want to stay abreast of like what's going on with the world, and keeping my mind sharp and things like that. But what I can say is that there are just some things I was not taught. I wasn't taught how outside of securing a regular job or a job to make ends meet. I wasn't necessarily taught how to better position myself to build a secure life of wealth, right? And it's not just financial wealth. I can truly say my parents equipped me on the spiritual side, but as far as the financial, that piece is a little bit misaligned. And so in this, I can truly say that I've been on this quest of self-discovery to discover like what I knew I wanted to help people, but I'm like, I don't know what that really looked like. And so over time, as I began to continue to learn, and like I said, I don't totally knock the direction that was instructed to me to go, but it did put me on this path of learning. And so, in this process of becoming who I am and figuring out all these skills, talents, and abilities that I have, I'm learning that, you know what? These skill sets that I have is called coaching, right? And so I began to explore and go down that path and to learn as much as I could about it. And so, hence, here we are today. Pretty much have narrowed this thing down to holistic living, right? Hence, that's the reason why I'm a holistic lifestyle empowerment coach. But when you're not taught, right? When you're not taught the pillars of life that can withstand the test of time, right? Of creating this foundation that's going to help you be good, right? That costs you something, okay? Now, the wake up call. There are so many people that I have had the opportunity to uh, consult with, do coaching with, and I can truly say they are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically strong, but financially, they're struggling in silence. Not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, but because they have never had someone break it down in a way that actually makes sense. I'm talking no fluff, no pressure, just truth that empowers, right? And sometimes, I don't know if you've ever heard it said, knowledge is power, right? Well, the knowledge that you know and that is applied is powerful because, truth be told, we're inundated with knowledge every single day. We are now in this information age where information is everywhere, right? So much so, people get called out for paying for information because information is free. It's at the click of a button, right? It's on the platform. You ask any question, aka Chat GPT. You ask any question, and guess what? It pops up on your phone and tells you the how to's and do this and do that, steps 1, 2, 3 through 25, and this, that, and the third, right? So everything literally is at the disposal of our hand, but what we're lacking is connection and a sense of community and mentorship on how to apply, right? So, with that being said, most of us, as we know, we were never taught how to build wealth, how to get out of debt for real, or how to protect what we work so hard for, right? Many of us work hard each and every day. Some of us have physical laboring jobs, right? Some of us have mental laboring jobs, right? You know, some of us have no job. And all of these categories applies pressure, right? And it can put you in a place where you may not know how to protect what it is you're working hard for or what you currently have or don't have, right? And we pay for the lack of knowledge every single day, especially when it's not applied. We miss opportunities, right? And then generational cycles that never seem to end, they continue to perpetuate and show up in our life time and time again. And we find ourselves in these vicious cycles, right? Where it's like, I just don't know how to get out of it. I remember talking to my cousins, and they was like, you know what? It could have been me that was stuck on the porch in the hood, you know, stuck on the porch. That means all I know is what I see going on in my environment, right? And it will have you stuck on the porch, or it'll have you stuck in life, or it'll have you in a place where you like, I don't know how to get out of this. Like I don't see no means to an end. This is all I know to do. I don't know nothing different. I don't know how to do anything different. Nobody ever showed me. Nobody ever taught me how to do that, right? And when we're faced with that, it makes it hard. It can keep you in a state of poverty. It can keep you in a mode of fear, right? It can keep you stuck, paralyzed, unable to move, unable to change your life because all you see is what you see. All you know is what you know. all you have are the toxic examples that were presented before you, and no one really took you by the hand to show you something different, that things can be different for you and that you can change your life, right? But when we see dysfunction all around, it begins to show up in our environment, and that environment can begin to distort our perspective on life, right? And so if you see constant struggle in your home and you see constant chaos in your home, the truth of the matter is it's mirroring what's going on the inside. But the solutions that we need are also on the inside. The word says that the kingdom of God is within you, right? So if there's this vast, rich, abundant kingdom, then that means, and you don't see that manifesting outwardly, then that means some things within you are misaligned. And when things are misaligned inwardly, right, it puts the body at a mode of dis-ease, meaning that there is no ease, there is no peace, there is no sense of harmony in the body or in your mindset or in your heart, right? And when things are misaligned, so for example, if you sprain your ankle or if you break your foot or you dislocate your joint in your arm or something, it causes and induces pain, right? And the pain you feel is the pain of it being misaligned. But if you call yourself going on this healing journey to fix it and you don't get the proper help, support, expertise to be invited into your healing and recovery journey of becoming, guess what? You're going to go through life out of alignment. And as you're going, your body will adapt, but at the same time, as you continue to try to perform and do things the way you've always done it and thinking that I ain't going to change that, I'm just going to deal with it and that's just how it is and this is what it's going to be, it's going to cause pain and suffering in your life. The same rules apply, right? When we talk about these generational things that show up in our life, okay? So, what has to happen? There has to be a shift from surviving to building, right? And here's what I know. When you start aligning your life around wholeness, not just spiritually, because many of us are believers, right? I believe in God and, quick to profess the word and everything, but you are financially poor, right? And you're surviving. You're in survival mode. But how can that be when the word of God said he came that you can have life and it more abundantly, right? The Bible also talks about how the people who don't believe are more successful than the people who do believe. So something is off here, right? And we have to go back to the main frame. We have to go back to the foundation because a lot of us perish because of the lack of knowledge, right? The lack of not knowing, the lack of not having the proper resources, the lack of not having the proper mentorship, right? The lack of not having access to the things that are really going to help you become the best version of you, even in Christ, right? So we got to go from surviving to building, right? And that's why I recently aligned with something that complements the work I already do. So, as I've shared before, it's all about wholeness with me: mind, mentally, body, your soul, physically, right? Emotionally, financially, right? Because truth of the matter is when you're emotionally misaligned, it affects everything, right? Something going wrong and you having a day where you like, you know what? That really made me mad. And you choose to sit in your emotions and let your emotions run rank and rule. It's going to affect your spending habits. It's going to affect how you managing your money. It's going to affect if you decide that if you want to clean up today or if you don't, your house is finna be looking crazy, chaotic. Everything's everywhere. You got clutter here, clutter there, right? Like if all of these things are, and here's the beauty, these dimensions of wholeness are all interconnected. And that's the reason why I said when if at least one of them is out of alignment, I'm talking like you at a 40 when you should be at least an 80, 90, or 100, right? We talking 20, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 65 is like, but we talking on a low scale, right? It is going to heavily impact all these other areas of your life, right? And so my purpose is to help you gain clarity, get the confidence you need, and a concrete plan that is practical for your money in your future. Okay. And so this is just one element, one area to focus on, you know. And when we do that and you understand, and let me go back to the example of becoming a young adult and not necessarily knowing how to secure my family. I read about it in the Bible. You know, you need to leave a legacy for your children and your children's children and blah, 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 right? But when we are not properly instructed on how to set it up, on how to put it in place, we just out here unprotected, right? We just out here. Anything's subject to happen. In today's world, your best bet is to be protected than to not be protected. And I'm talking about due to the laws and the lays of the land. I get being spiritual. I understand it to a T. But there is also a obligation that God has given us in the word about protecting the family, right? And leaving a legacy. It's not just financial. It impacts all the dimensions of our life, right? And so I would like to invite you to a powerful 30-minute private workshop that's going to open your eyes and equip you, whether you're starting over or starting fresh. Listen, I'm starting over at 40, in my 40s, right? Who'd ever known? I've walked through a divorce and I remember starting fresh, getting my first apartment and, all of the things. But this time starting over is completely different than it was years ago, right? Um, but in that, you don't have to do it alone. You can do it by having a plan, right? This is no sales pitch. This is just helping you to get clarity. And in me even doing this myself is helping how I see everything because fear has tried to paralyze me, right? Especially starting over, right? And poverty has tried to come up to keep me impoverished in some ways. But now that I have the information that I have, it is shifting how I'm seeing and beginning to approach to begin to take accountability and responsibility as an adult. And like I said, some things are not our fault of our own. They're not. And many of it is we're repeating the things that we just don't know and we don't have a sense of direction or a clear plan. But when we, one, understand money and how it actually works, and then when we get the tools to protect ourselves and our family and the legacy that we are trying to build, it creates a sense of empowerment, right? A mindset that puts you back in control to create your plan, hold it loosely, and then see how God begins to move. Because truth of the matter is, God moves in decency and in order. And when you are showing that you are being a proper steward over what God has given you, especially a family, especially a legacy, right? And you're taking that serious and you're doing all that you can to protect that, God will give you more. And whatever the more looks like. So if that sounds like something that you need, let's schedule a time for you to listen in, um, and for you to get what you need. Okay? Um, I promise, even if you don't do anything afterwards, you will walk away better than you came. Okay. And so, my gift to you today is to share that opportunity with you. Like I said before, if you do choose to do nothing with it at all, that is completely your choice and it's completely up to you. But just taking the time to hear the information, and for some, you may be hearing it again. And sometimes we do need to hear it again. And sometimes the same thing needs to be coming back across your path again. But this time, hearing it again, you're not in the same space, the same predicament, or the same head space that you were in then. You could be in a very completely different place right now. But hearing the information again, this time might be the thing that begins to shift, right? Because you deserve to live whole, and that starts with wisdom and it starts with taking action. And so I have availability on my calendar to schedule that private workshop with you. And I can't wait to see you on the other side. And just know, listen, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge will empower you. Okay. And so my heart's desire is for you to become reignited in self-love, wholeness, and have the hope so that you can live ignited and thrive in every area of your life: mind, mentally, body, physically, soul, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, and ultimately all the areas of your life. So I can't wait to meet with you. Can't wait to see your name pop up on my calendar. And I look forward to connecting with you. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, and I can't wait to see you soon. Take care. Bye.